doubt, and to know you is to love you, and to know so little else I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. All right, you guys stand. I know we're at tables, but feel free to move around and lift our voices as we sing. Lord, I find you in the seeking. Lord, I find you in the doubt. And to know you is to love you, and to know so little else I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Lord, I find you in the morning. Lord, I seek you every day. Let my life be for your glory, woven in your threads of grace. I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. My glorious light, I will go where you shine. Break the dawn, crack the skies, make the waves right before me. In your light, I will find all I need. All I need is you. Yeah. My glorious light, I will go where you shine. Break the dawn, crack the skies, make the waves right before me. In your light, I will find all I need. All I need is you. Oh, oh, how I need you. 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 Yeah. Well, good morning. Welcome to Oak City Church. We wanted to start the day with a bit of energy. So I appreciate those who came along for the ride. Would you guys go ahead and turn to someone near you or walk across the room even and welcome someone this morning?
morning again, church. It's good to see everyone here this morning. I feel like I need to say this if you're new here. If you're new here, this is not the way we usually set the church seating up. It's a business meeting afterwards, which is why that's the case. So we're in the middle of, I guess we've just kind of started the Where is God When Life Happens series. And it's personally one of my favorite series, not because you hear someone's story so much, but that you can hear and witness a testimony of someone's story and ultimately how God was working in and through that. And I'm a firm believer of when we have stories to tell, which is frequent, that God is moving in our lives, we need to be vocal, and we need to tell those stories for the purpose of only glorifying God and for growing His kingdom. And so I love this series. I look forward to it every single year. I think when you look at that genuinely as a question, where is God when life happens? I think it's very easy for us as believers. Oftentimes, you could argue it's easy to say, "Oh, he was always there. He's right next to me." We know that as Christians, when we're going through times of adversity, when we're going through difficult situations, through challenging situations, it's very easy for us to lean on our own understanding and completely forget that God is walking alongside of us every single step of the way. And the funny thing is the Bible Bible tells us to do the exact opposite. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 says to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. How difficult that is in practice, right? But to do that, it requires a lot of us, right? It requires sacrifice. It requires trust. It requires complete surrender, dying to ourselves. And that's faith, ultimately, right? It requires faith. James chapter 4, verse 8 says, draw near to God and He will draw near to you. So you have to make that step. You have to, he's never not there, and He's not going away, but you have to put forth that effort. I thought about this as we were preparing for this weekend service, and this song, Give Me Faith, I think ties into it quite well. The bridge, I may be weak, but your Spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail. Our flesh will fail. Time and time again, but God, you never will. So sing this with me. I need you to soften my heart and break me apart. I need you to open my eyes and see that you're shaping my life. All I am, I surrender. Give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside, I give you my life. I need you to soften my heart and break me apart. I need you to pierce through the dark and cleanse every part of me. And all I am, I surrender.
I give you my life. Oh, give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life. Oh, I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me, and my flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. I may be weak, but your spirit's strong in me, and my flesh may fail, but my God, you never will. Give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good, your love is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life. Oh, give me faith to trust what you say, that you're good and your love is great. I'm broken inside. I give you my life. I may be weak, your spirit's strong in me. My flesh may fail, my God, you never will. I may be weak, your spirit's strong in me, and my flesh may fail, my God, you never will. Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet. Waiting for change to come, knowing the battle's won, for you have never failed me yet. Sing out your promise. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. I know the night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. We'll sing your praise again. do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move. You move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move. Come move the mountains, and I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. Do it again. I'll see you do it again. Do it again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, your faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You've never failed me yet. Will you guys pray with me? God, we really do need you. There's so many things in life we don't understand. It's hard to know what to do or where to turn. But help us to trust you even when we don't have all the answers or we don't understand. Give us faith to let go of the things that we are trying so hard to control and to believe in you, to believe that you're holding us, that we're safe with you. God, I pray that you'll speak to all of our hearts this morning, help slow us down, really listen. Whatever we walked in carrying this morning, remind us that we don't have to carry it alone. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for meeting us right where we are. We love you. Amen.
Well, good morning, Oak City Church. My name is Alan Wilser. I'll be sharing a few announcements before we get going this morning. And just to get right off, first one is that we've got a women's breakfast, and that's coming up this coming Saturday, August 22nd. And you might think of a women's breakfast as low-fat Chobani yogurt and maybe some crying. No, this is going to be way better than that. Like, I don't want to purport to know what it's going to be about because I don't understand women and all their mysteries, but I know it's going to be amazing. They'd love for you to come on out, so please do that. Second up for bid, we got baptisms also coming up next weekend. So if you have made a decision to follow Jesus in your life, or perhaps your child has done that and you would like for them to be baptized, then please email Jeff at oakcitychurch.com. And we've also got a men's retreat that's on the docket coming up in mid-November. It's going to be a weekend. It's a Friday to Saturday, the 13th through the 15th. And whatever stereotypical things you think men do on a retreat, I'm sure that's exactly what it is. So please join us.
We've actually ordered a lot of low-fat Chobani yogurt and
As you should.
plans to cry
Yes.
a lot.
We're going to hand you a pillow to hold in your lap and leave you in a puddle of tears. So,
That's the plan.
no. Yeah. Is Kevin coming up?
Yeah, Kevin's going to come up.
Okay. Oh, yes, the youth group
Hey.
kickoff party. I'm in charge of the
At your
youth group.
house.
That's
Is it at your house?
no.
Where's- What?
I'm going to be out of town, but my wife will handle it perfectly. I'm
Is
sure.
there going to be Chobani yogurt?
Negative.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
Just sugary snacks.
Yeah. Are we doing this
Man.
again?
All right.
Does anybody else have an announcement?
Fall class is kicking off
I'm
August
sorry, this
30th.
is just us. I
So-
came up too early. I'm the one that screwed this whole thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good work, Pastor. So this is going to be every other Sunday night, okay? And just a suggested donation of $30 to cover all the snacks. And the Cynic's Guide to Church, that's going to be led by our dear friend Donnie Hale, who is an expert in this world. So, all right, Kevin, come on up,
Kids.
man.
Kids,
Oh, the kids can be dismissed.
get out of here. Go on. Go on, get.
That hangs out with musicians all the time. A drummer.
All right, before we get started here with Kevin, I would like you to raise your hand if you got engaged this week. Woo! Wes and Crystal got engaged. Not this week. It was like 2 weeks ago. Okay. We're very excited for you. That's when it happened. All right. Sweet. Well, congratulations. I'm very excited for you. And what's that? The other thing I want to say is we are starting a series next Sunday morning called I Hate to Admit That, and then fill in the blank. So next week is going to be I hate to admit that I'm anxious all the time. The week after that is I hate to admit that my house is a war zone. I think the week after that is I hate to admit I'm not sure what I believe anymore. So I hate to admit that I stole this series from another pastor. I actually don't hate to admit that, but I did. It's a friend in town that did this. I'm like, I love that idea. Can I steal? He's like, sure. So we're doing different topics. But I'm really excited about the series, kind of gets at some of our values with authenticity and change takes time and all this. It also is, I think, a good series to invite. If you got people that you've been thinking about inviting to church, especially if they're like a little sketchy on church, this is probably a good series to invite them to. So this is Kevin Carrata. Everybody say hello, Kevin Carrata.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm all right.
I mean, it's a big week.
Yeah, big week.
Why was it a big week?
We sent our daughter off to school, as did a couple others. So that's never easy, but it's part of the circle of life. So, like the antelope turning into grass from The Lion King.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wow, okay.
Some people know what I'm talking about.
Well, that's a big week. So Kevin's going to share. I'm going to read this passage just to kind of. We couldn't find like a perfect passage for this, but this is close, I think, to give you an idea where we're going, and then we'll get started. From 2 Corinthians, to keep me from being conceited because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger from Satan to harass me, to keep me from being conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then I'm content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities, for when I'm weak, I'm strong. And I think maybe the closest we get to kind of an overriding theme is that there's a lot of suffering involved in this, but that has led to some spiritual wisdom and like a different knowledge of the gospel, like a different level of understanding about it that you didn't have before and might not have had without it. So you started coming to Oak City Church when?
2008, when our daughter was about 6 months old, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you came because of some guy in a coffee shop, right?
Yeah, I was at Third Place just doing some work during the middle of the day, and I heard some guys talking theology, and as I used to do often, married for a year and a half, and my background was Pentecostal, and I was no longer wanting to go to that type of church. My wife's background was Catholic, and we were trying to meet somewhere in the middle. We were at a Lutheran church, but nothing was quite a great fit, and so I was kind of looking, and someone mentioned Visio Day, which is what Oak City Church used to be called, and I had seen it on Whitaker Mill. I thought it was a cult or something.
Did you?
That's
why it's
I
no
did
longer
not
called
think.
Visio.
I did not
Yeah.
think it was. I didn't really think about it, to be honest. But like, it did not strike me as, oh, that's a church. So even though it said a church community, it's, the
What does that mean?
stained glass weirded me out. I don't know. But we went, and I mean, talk about like, you know, a perfect. Like that Sunday morning, I even stayed after. I went first by myself, and I stayed after to talk to the staff. And I was like, wow, this is such a breath of fresh air. It seemed like a group of people that were truly a church community, focused on the gospel, not focused on a lot of the ancillary things that had kind of made me cynical in my Christian upbringing.
And you played a very important role in the development of Visio Oak City Day Church over now almost 20 years. In that, I don't know if it was that Sunday or if it was another Sunday, but you were talking to Jason and I in the parking lot, and you're like, this seems like a church for disgruntled church people. And you got in your car and left, and we're like, oh gosh, what does that mean? Like, are we disgruntled church people? Is that what? And in some ways, like, we would word it differently, but there was something in that we didn't know about ourselves that you pointed out that I think in some ways was true. So
It was a soothing balm if you had wounds from, you know, that.
Yeah.
So
okay, so we're gonna go through, because some of this has to do with your career. When you went to college at Akron. Does anybody
Go
know
Zips.
that? Now I can't ask the question to see if anybody knew.
Sorry,
Before
we
he
didn't-
said they were the Zips, did anybody know that Akron were the Zips? Does anybody know what a zip is? Okay.
and our mascot's a kangaroo. So
I went to a Mac school, so that's why I'm making fun of Akron. But when you were in college, you got a job selling, like a part-time job selling, and did really well at it, and you realized, I could probably be good at this.
So I had worked since I was 13, but all hourly jobs, and I'd always, you know, done well in whatever I did. But I got a part-time job selling, and almost immediately experienced tremendous success. For a 20-year-old in college who was paying for his own school, made more money than I had made like in the previous 2 years I made in one summer. And I was just, and my major was engineering, by the way. And I was like, okay, so, which I'm glad I didn't finish that. But it was like, I think, like, this is kind of the way it seems like I'm supposed to go.
And you realized there was some freedom in that, but you also seem to realize there's a little bit of a danger to you in that.
Yeah, and I didn't, I had this feeling that I didn't really define or think about until probably like 10 or 15 years later. But I had just had this little bit of a fear, and it was because you have a freedom in sales, like you can either work or not work. And the only other time I had that was in school, and there were times I didn't work, and I always did really, really well in school, but as I would later find, like that has to do with the ADHD brain, where, you know, you put stuff off, but then you have this ability to become hyper-focused and do extraordinary work and end up being just fine. But I knew there was a danger in that, and I had that kind of freedom, you know, but when I had two other jobs. When I quit my other jobs and went to do that full time, I was kind of like, there was a little part of me that was like, this is a little dangerous for Kevin Carrata.
Yeah. But you get out of school, and for 15 years, you're just killing it. Your first job, you were like the #1 salesperson in a crew of 300.
Yeah, so my first corporate job, I was a sales trainer, and then they recruited me into the field, and
It was like bank.
yeah, bank technology. I was in ATMs and security and stuff like that. I was a software specialist, and they had none, so I immediately started working on the larger accounts. And I was in the field for about 2 years before I say I was #1. Technically, I was #2, but my quota was 9 million. The quota for the #1 person was only 1 million. So
This must
salespeople
be how
know this, like
salespeople
order
think.
entry is different than revenue, and I did 18 million in order entry. And but anyway, by the way, a lot of that's, and the salespeople know this, a lot of that's great timing. A lot of that has a lot to do with the clients that you have. I mean, it wasn't completely unrelated to me. You know, I had a part in that, but it wasn't like, yeah, anyway.
Yeah. But you were there, I mean, you left in January 2007?
Yep.
You just got married? Or,
Yeah, I was going to get married that summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so life
Too
is
soon.
good, you're flying. And you switched to another job
Yep.
into it,
Yeah.
maybe. But that was, well, talk about that. You said you were a pure hunter, which
Yeah,
a
so
non-salesperson
There's
doesn't-
for those of you who know, like there's account manager. I mean, it's not exactly like this, but there's account managers and there's hunters. And account managers spend time developing relationships, and I flourished in that role. Like people trusted me, I took care of them, I was always an advocate for my clients. But a hunter creates something out of nothing. And I had no experience doing that. And I got lucky a few times. Like I did okay, but if I'm honest, like I got lucky a few times, but it was after 2 years, and then the financial crisis happened. I was like, they're not going to keep me along. They're not going to keep me around for much longer. My wife had gotten laid off as part of the financial crisis as well, so there was that added pressure. But I knew it wasn't the right role.
And you had that boss that
Yeah. So
saw through you.
okay, I guess I'll say this. So he knew people from my previous company, and he said, like, you know, somebody called you the golden child, like. And he goes, I got to tell you, I just don't see it. I was like, well, yeah. You're right.
To each his own. You left that and you went to Pendum?
Yeah, so I had an opportunity to become one of many vice presidents of sales that this newly rescued company had. They had restructured, and so I knew the CEO and became a VP of sales. There were 12 of us, but then over the next year of restructuring, I was the only one left. So I ended up running the whole sales organization at a very young age. And a lot of it, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I don't want to pretend like every day I woke up and everything I touched turns to gold. That's not how it worked. A lot of things I did wrong. But I survived the gauntlet, and then produced a couple years where our sales team did record sales. So that went, you know, all in all really well. My income had increased to the point where it made up for my wife being laid off. You know, I was gone all the time though. That was the tough part. Is 2011, I traveled 180 nights in hotel rooms, which is basically every weeknight. So that was kind of tough.
And you said you might have been on the verge of becoming an alcoholic.
Yeah, so I mean, it was also at a time when I wasn't living. I mean, I was not completely backslidden, but I was doing things that I normally wouldn't do, and one of them was like I really enjoyed drinking. I love whiskey, bourbon, and when you go out to client dinners, especially back then, that was pretty common, and so pretty much every night of the week. Drinking, and then we'd get home and, you know, we'd cocktail on the weekends. I mean, I never drank during the day or anything like that, but I started to develop habits that, looking back, were probably kind of dangerous, but I knew at the time I shouldn't be comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And then coming in Sunday morning and being like, praise God, you know.
And you had a couple more companies. There's an Italian company that offered you a ton of money. It was too good to be true, and you knew it, and it was. Turned out to be too good to be true. And you went back to Putnam. But then career-wise, things started to, you changed, you decided to do something locally that worked for a while.
Yeah. So I'd gotten let go for the first time in my life, and it was a little bit of a complicated situation, and I think I convinced myself that it wasn't completely me. But the fact is, like, if I was killing it, you don't let salespeople go who are killing it. It just, nobody does that. So I think, too, I started believing my own BS a little bit because I had had such success in a number of roles that I started to kind of think, oh, I have this special ability. And you know, somebody laughed, like they identify with that. And I was good at what I did. Like, there was no question about that. But like, I think I started to believe in it a little bit too much. And I realize now, looking back, like, a lot of it's timing, a lot of it's luck, a lot of it's being in the right place at the right time. And when I just had to grind, I did not do well.
Yeah.
So, but I started in this new role that was outside of the bank technology industry for the first time, and put my head down, worked, did okay for a while, but very quickly realized like it wasn't going well, and I hated what I was doing.
And then just things start to slide professionally, financially, emotionally for the next 5 to 7 years. So you realize that this business is that you're doing on your own, really. You're independent, whatever. You're bringing in not as much as your household is spending. And sometimes it's 90%, sometimes it's 60%. But you start making withdrawals from your 401k. You decide not to do that. And this is kind of a both-and thing. Whatever that thing was that you identified when you were 20 and you were selling that was like kind of a liability in this world is that you're not grinding the way that you need to. Whatever that is happening, and at the same time, you're having a run of bad luck. Like you had applied for a handful of really good.
That role of starting my own business, I had been doing a lot of interviewing in my previous industry, and I still had a good reputation. And people who had worked with me, who had run into me, still thought highly of me, and it created a lot of opportunities. And I kind of saw them as a lifeline. I don't know why. I interviewed for at least 6 very good positions that got all the way to the end, or in some cases even got a verbal offer, and not a single one of them came through. The only thing I can do to explain that is that I wonder if they smelled the desperation, like that this was my ticket out of here, because, you know, and by the way, and this is a part of my life and career that there's no good explanation for why I just kind of petered out and didn't do what I was supposed to do. I knew I was supposed to be providing for my family. I had the tools to do that, and I wasn't doing it. And we don't talk about all this to excuse it. It's just to kind of explain it and understand it. But I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing for several years to provide for my family. I didn't realize, because I was just being obtuse, what this was doing to my wife. And I had my best friend said to me, like, he goes, because he had been through something very similar where he lost all his money and he ended up $250,000 in debt and ended up coming out of it just through putting his head down and sheer hard work. And he said to me, I don't understand why you're not running around like your hair is on fire. And I hope that the reason this is not comfortable to talk about, but the reason I'm saying this is because I think there's probably some people who identify with that. And anyway, So
Yeah, and so things are bad, but they're about to get worse.
much worse.
You end up you end up selling your house. You cashed out 401ks, and then you ended up selling your house. You ended up moving to a townhouse. That wasn't a bad situation, but then the landlord didn't renew your lease, so you end up in an apartment up off of Durley Road.
And we sold the house because we needed the equity in it. We needed the profit from it to survive for the next year or two.
And you're declining mentally.
Yeah, this is a dark time. Looking back on it, I look at it and say, okay, I know what a person's supposed to do. And if you had asked me in 2010, would I ever become that person? Because I had seen guys lose their footing, people who had been really successful, and then just kind of things just turned blah for them. And I'd say, like, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? And people in my life and family and others were saying that, and I'm sure a lot of others were saying it, not to me, but to themselves. Like, why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? And I was in a rut. I was also not listening to reason. I had kind of lost my footing to where eventually by like 2018, I had been out of my previous industry so long that the opportunities stopped. And then I just started interviewing at places that were not in my industry, and part of the challenge there was that nobody wanted to hire someone. Like I was looking specifically for account management, relationship management roles because I knew I would do well there. And I had a bunch of interviews where people said, you seem great, but I'm not going to hire somebody who was a vice president and ran an organization because it seems to me that's probably what you want to do again. Like I need someone to do this job. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that again. And they're like, yeah, whatever. So there was a time in my career where if I interviewed somewhere, I got the job. I'd had offers that I had turned down, and I just went on a streak where I got no offers and then eventually very little interest.
And you talked a bit about your church upbringing, like playing into this. Did you say you thought it might be demonic at some point, or?
Well, I think when the depression started setting in, I didn't realize how depressed I was. Like I was working on a different baseline than everyone else who knew me. Sue called Jeff and is like, she called Jeff, she talked to my dad, she talked to my best friend Mike, and she's like, guys, Kevin's not well. And I present very well, so there's probably people at church who've known me for these 15, 20 years who are like, I didn't know that was going on. So I think my upbringing, I'm not blaming it, I'm saying the way I kind of processed where I was at was that it was purely through the lens of shame. Because I knew that when you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, it's sinful. So rather than look at it and say, well, God loves me, offers me grace, I still have value, I looked at it like, well, I used to have value. Everyone used to tell me how great I was, and now I can't even get a phone call back. And I assigned so much of my identity to my success that when it disappeared, I kind of went into a spiral. And I didn't realize I was in a spiral. We had to sell our house and we moved into a crummy basement apartment that, every time we came home, there'd be a worm on the floor. I'd just say it was a basement apartment, so we had a bug problem. We had flooding problems. It was...
You had a bug problem because we live in the South.
Yeah, that's part of it, but no, we had a lot of bugs.
There aren't this many bugs in the North.
So, but I processed it through the lens of shame.
And you
like,
told Sue you feel like a piece of.
yeah, I would say this piece of poop. Yeah, that's what I said. That's
But that's not
exactly
the-
what I said.
We debated what word to use here, and I really wanted to use the word that he used, but there might be kids in here, and so that is inappropriate to use. But there's a difference between the word that he used and poop. Like the word
Yeah.
that he used has a power to it, and that's why I can't say it here. But the word matters because that's how he didn't feel like poop. He felt like the other word. Are we on the same page? Like that's how
I
he
think
felt
they
about
get it,
himself.
yeah.
But there's a difference. I don't want to
Yeah.
like that's how you felt.
Well, and I think it's easy for someone to look at that and think like that's a manipulative tactic. Like my wife is a saint, and I didn't realize like how bad things were. And in those moments when I realized it, I immediately looked at it like I'm a piece of crap. Like I wasn't saying.
How many people feel like that from time to time? All right, let's just.
So, but it wasn't to generate sympathy. Like that was how I felt.
Yeah,
And it was hard kind of getting out of that.
yeah. Now things start to pick up physically. So Sue starts selling real estate, and if you need
Best realtor
if you
around.
need a real estate agent, by the way, Sue Carrata, ladies and gentlemen, it's fantastic. He's crushing it.
Thank God, by the way.
Yeah, crushing it. Your buddy, you mentioned your best friend, this guy named Mike in Cleveland, who we've talked a little bit about, and he's been through his own stuff, but he calls and has an idea. It was a part of a business that he runs, and it is kind of the customer success type of thing. Yeah, Sue, in that conversation, says, hey, one requirement, Kevin doesn't sell. Whatever that thing was, he recognized at 20. Sue saw it too and said, we're not going there.
Well, and thank God for Mike because, so this is late 2021, and I had not done much for the previous year. But Mike's my best friend. Mike and I have known each other since we were 6. We've been best friends since we were 20. And we've worked together a lot. And so Mike's seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. So he kind of knew what I was capable of and what my skills were, but also knew my pitfalls, and that's why it kind of worked out perfectly.
So you start this role, you're managing this thing in Vegas and in Raleigh. You guys buy a house in 2021, move a couple years later to a different house. You start playing drums at church, which you mentioned was just significant, like an avenue for worship that renewed something in you that was cool. And you said that people were, you just mentioned people were pretty good to you. I mean, you said at one point, like, your wife, your dad, your best friend, your pastor all saw this stuff and did what they could to.
Yeah. So.
And stuck with you in that.
And I remember saying this in a birthday business meeting right around that time, late 2021, early 2022, where I said, like, I've been through a rough time. I've put my family through a rough time. And for a while, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I was scared I wasn't going to be able to get out of it. And I was viewing myself through a lens of shame and judgment. And part of the reason why I got really good at putting things off was because to face them was just too much. Like I would go apply for jobs and my head would start thinking like, well, he put it in that birthday business meeting, grabbed me by the armpits and helped pull me out. And an insignificant, from the joy of being, we're starting to.
And for me, it's would travel sometimes with Mike and Mike.
To sleep, I was watching an Instagram video that made me tear up. I did not cry, I teared up. And I was like, I said, how'd you even hear that? Like, I just teared up. And he goes, no, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I got up to go to the bathroom, and you were asleep, and your face was in the pillow, and you were going, so, I don't mean to
crying?
joke about that. Oh,
Were you ugly crying?
I was ugly crying, like Christmas Eve ugly crying. So, sorry. Inside joke. So, but there were moments when like I would have like mini panic attacks, which I was like, what in the world is this? Like, and what's funny about panic attacks is like, once you have one, and I didn't know why they were coming either. That's the thing. It's not like I had this, I was doing just fine in work. Like I was able to handle big things. I was able to speak to large groups of people, and none of that ever happened. But then in some quiet moment where I'd be in the car, it would hit me. And once you have a first panic attack, it almost kind of opens something up that says, oh, that can happen now. And then you can have a panic attack just with remembering that it happened. I see some head shaking here, because and it starts this cycle where like the first time I had a real panic attack, I probably had 100 of them over the next week. Wow. And many ones. Like I'd be talking to someone and I'd remember, oh, that happened on Friday. And my body would get hot and my heart would start racing. But I luckily, through doctors and through the internet and all that, like I understood what it was. I understood that this can't kill me, and for the most part, you just kind of have to let it happen until it subsides. But for a while, it was no picnic.
And you did go see a guy in town, Dr. Larkay, who a number of people over the years at Oak City Church have seen. You did get prescribed some medicine. You didn't feel like that was particularly helpful, but maybe it helped you deal with the stuff more. You said you ended up getting to a place where like you realized you had to sit in this. That you weren't suicidal, but you see how people can get there if this happened for a long period of time. And then you got to a place where it felt like you were getting 5% better each week or each month. Like it was just a slow something out of this.
And there was a seminal moment after the holidays one year, so I guess this is early 2024, where I completely fell apart. I woke up every morning and something started happening when I wake up in the morning. It was just darkness. It was like whatever tools you have to face the world, whatever chemicals are in your brain or whatever it is, that rug was just pulled out from under me, and I was just terrified. And I'm not somebody who can't go out and face the day. And I remember that was new, or I wasn't new with the band, but before the service one Sunday morning, they asked for prayer requests, and I just said, guys, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going through a hard time, and I start to cry. And then the next Monday morning, I completely fell apart, like to where I was talking with Mike and his wife, who used to be a nurse, and she said, I think you need to go to the emergency room. It was, I couldn't stop crying. The next day, I dropped Naomi off at school. John Fauché was here. I stop. I start talking to him, immediately start crying. I see the doctor that Thursday, start talking, immediately start crying. And he diagnosed it as acute severe depression, but I still didn't quite understand why this was happening, and that was maybe the toughest part, because I didn't know if it was going to end and when it was going to end. So having empathy with people who are suicidal. I was not suicidal, but I thought, like, if every day was like this for the next 5 years, oh yeah, I'd start thinking about it, But luckily it wasn't. It got a little better every day.
Yeah, and it got better. And so I'm just going to fast forward to something from earlier this year, and then we're going to talk about like maybe how you're different and what's changed. But so just to like, Kevin told me something in these conversations, and I'll sometimes, I'll ask him about his events. He'll send me videos and stuff, and the business has evolved. You guys have gotten into a really good place. He had an event earlier this year. I think you said it's 400 of the top local realtors. They're giving out awards, and people are crying. It's so meaningful to them. There's a top realtor in town who was the top realtor in the state, I thought you said was the top 10 realtor in the country, who like came up to you afterwards and said, what you guys are doing is super meaningful. And so you're back in a place where you're doing something that you're excelling at doing it. But you said that it affects you very differently. Like there's no glow. You're just like, thanks, and so I say that to say like
It doesn't go straight to the ego, which is what it would have done 10 years ago, 15
yeah,
years.
And so this verse, they're a thorn in the flesh. I don't, this doesn't fit exactly, but to me, there's something in it. And Paul coming to peace with that, and then God saying, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. And so then we're okay with our weaknesses because the power of Christ can show through that. And what I thought was to try and put this in buckets, like you see yourself differently on the backside of this than you did on the front side of this. And so part of that is your identity is not in your work. And you didn't think your identity was that much in your work before.
No, I really didn't. And something happens when you're in such a dark place for like the dark depression the darkest part lasted for a couple months. And even it was like a year before I could wake up in the morning and not feel that feeling of dread and be terrified. But in that moment, it almost kind of you focus on what is the most important, and I realized how little that status or work achievements or the things that we focus on every day as part of society and all that, how none of that matters, especially if you're a believer and you believe in the gospel and you believe that Christ has come to save all. And yes, we are pieces of crap, but because he loves us, we have tremendous value, and one person is not more valuable than the other. And I don't think I would have, like I said, I believed all that, but I don't think I would have really believed it had I not gotten to the point where truly I was just trying to survive, like nothing else mattered. And I realized it was kind of beat over my head, like how stupid all of this ancillary stuff is that we focus on.
Yeah, because you said you can't realize that until it's gone. Yeah. Like it's stripped away from you and you can't get it back. And then you're like, well, that stuff wasn't what I thought it was in the first place. I think in there is like echoes of while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us, and that's true. And we talked a bit about Romans 7. What I'm doing, I don't understand. The thing I want to do, I don't do. The thing I don't want to do, I do. Wretched man that I am, who will set me free from this body of death? Thanks be to God. There's therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus, which is what you don't feel that shame.
No, and it is difficult for me to talk about this. I was kind of dreading this morning, and when Jeff approached me with it, he said, "You're going to say no to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway." I know that all of that was difficult, and a lot of it had to do with me not by the way, I don't like to put a bow on this because sometimes this is just stuff that happens. I think we try to assign a narrative to things that happen in our life so that we feel better about it and we better understand it. And I'm really careful not to do that here. Like, some of this is just stuff that happened. And I think I probably went into severe depression because of a convergence of a lot of different things and a lot of things that I didn't take care of before and had just kind of buried and put away, because I'm really good at doing that. But I think one other verse or one other chapter, I read Ecclesiastes a lot, and don't read it on a rainy day, but like if you read King Solomon starting out saying, meaningless, meaningless, everything is meaningless, like that's how I felt for a long time. And then eventually it's like, love God and serve God. So for me, as far as like my faith, Jesus said the two greatest commandments are love God and love your neighbor. And he said the entire law and all of the prophets boil down to that. So if something that we're doing, we can't trace it back to, am I loving God or loving my neighbor, it's meaningless. Like, it has no bearing. So when we pursue things, especially worldly things, it is meaningless. And I'm kind of thankful in a way. Like I wouldn't go through that again. And I'm still not like I still, deal with some of this stuff. It's not like I'm fixed. But it's nice to kind of have that perspective like burned out of you that I feel like through that I have a little bit more wisdom about
Yeah.
life and the meaning of it.
Where was God when all that happened?
I've always had trouble like answering this question, right? But in the midst of the darkest part, that's what I was asking because God felt completely absent. And there's lots of parts in the Bible where the author feels that way, usually when they're suffering. But and that was the first time in my life that I had really like just doubted, like, look, if this is, because you can say things about like, oh, someone's going through a tough time, but like, I've never experienced anything like that in my life. I've never experienced like such darkness, and you can't tell someone about it. You can't explain like how it feels. You just know. And by the way, it gives me a lot more empathy and grace for people. Like you just can't say, oh, you're depressed, stop being depressed. It's impossible, So but where was God through it? Like I see the arc of me coming through it. I thank God that my thorn in the flesh is not chronic depression, that it seems like there was a very tough season, and I'm much more wise about it, that I don't, anything's possible, but I don't see going back to a place like that again. And every day is actually pretty good now. But where was God? I think God was there the whole time, but I couldn't see it at the time.
Yeah. The band can come back up, and I'm gonna read something from. I recommend you can stay here. I recommended this book a few weeks ago, "What Grows in Weary Lands." That somebody recommended to me. It's really good. And at the end, she says this. I don't know how this is gonna hit you. We didn't talk about it. Maybe it won't, but maybe it'll hit some of you, or maybe not. This lady, she said, after speaking at a university in Southern California, I decided on a whim to cancel my flight and take a train back home to Austin, Texas. I love trains in the American Southwest. For years, I've dreamed of combining the two. This was my chance. I boarded Amtrak late at night, woke up just as the sun was peeking over the desert horizon in Arizona. Spent all day staring out the window, and one thing kept surprising me. When I'd imagined this trip beforehand, I'd thought that in the arid Southwest, there would be almost no life. I imagined my train slowly rumbling through a wasteland of sand and not much else. Instead, what I saw was so much strange abundance and so much surprising growth. I wrote in my journal listing what I saw. Yucca, prickly pear, a meandering cow, shockingly tall seguros, what I thought might be acacia trees, unidentified pointy spiky shrubs. I expected desolation, I wrote, but what an odd extraterrestrial lusciousness right here. Life quietly shocks, surprises, endures. Things grow, not occasionally, but everywhere. Autumn rains yield life, relentless, hardier than I ever expected. There are things that grow in dry and weary lands. There are things that only grow there. The various ways plants survive amidst aridity intrigue me. Cacti can live because they've adapted to catch any available moisture out of the air. They take and use every hint of nourishment that comes their way. They waste nothing good. Acacia trees have taproots that plunge down deep as 100 feet to find water underground. The drier it is, the deeper their roots grow. Then there are resurrection plants, which seems to entirely wither and die, only to spring back to life as soon as they will meet with any moisture. Botanists have seen some resurrection plants revive after they appeared to be dead for over a century. All it took was a trickle of water. To survive these arid lands, plants have to become doggedly and creatively resilient, and that is what I hope grows in me, is seasons that seem spiritually and emotionally dry. Delicate beauties are brief, writes some lady, reflecting on plants that survive harsh landscapes. What lasts is tough and unglamorous, tenacious, companioned to the wind. I want to grow in this kind of tenacity. I want to learn to drink deep, any nourishment to be found. I want my roots to deepen and deepen until they found their source. Does that ring true in some way? Yeah. Man, I've said a handful of times, well, a lot of times before, if you've been around enough, if we had everybody's worst 30 seconds and we just played that on a Sunday morning and just like that was service, what a church we would be, because grace would have to be real. And like that Kevin has been here for a long time, that he's been through this stuff when we've been near him, that Kevin is able to and willing to share his story on a morning like this, says something about the type of church that you are, you know?
There's no group of people I'd feel more comfortable telling this story to than this church.
And I hope it empowers you to tell that type of story to each other and not be alone in it. Amen? Can you thank Kevin for sharing his story this morning?
This morning we had a little bit of technical difficulty, so we're going to sing a song that's kind of new. We've only done it here a couple times, but there's not going to be slides up. So instead, I believe someone is passing out lyrics. Yes, Marissa. If you need the lyrics, they're there. You can look at them. If you know the song, sing it. If you don't, that's okay. It can be a time of reflection and worship for you, of remembering, looking back, or right now, if it's happening in the moment, of remembering that God is there. He promised to be there. Even if it doesn't feel like it, we can still believe that it's true and know that it's true. So I would ask you to go ahead and stand. If you want to sing along, please do. But if not, it's also okay to just have a moment of reflection and remembrance about how God has held you through some things. And I remember how you provided, how you held me through the night. And I remember how you sustained me when you stepped in to save my life. And if I knew then what I know now, I would be still and let you work it out. And Jesus, I was tossed in the water, but I never went under. You were always on time, Jesus. When I went through the fire, you were right there beside me. You were always on time. You were always, always, always on time. You were always, always, always on time. And I remember how you carried when I couldn't take a step. And I remember how you loved me when I couldn't love myself. If I knew then what I know now, I would be still and let you work it out. There's never been a day, never been a minute, never been a moment that you weren't in it. There's never been a time that you didn't see me through, God. So I worship you. There's never been a day, never been a minute, never been a moment that you weren't in it. There's never been a time that you didn't see me through, God. So I worship you. There's never been a day, never been a minute, never been a moment that you weren't in it. There's never been a time that you didn't see me through, God. So I worship you. There's never been a day, never been a minute, never been a moment that you weren't in it. There's never been a time that you didn't see me through, God. So I worship you, Jesus. I was tossed in the water, but I never went under, and you were always on time, Jesus. When I went through the fire, you were right there beside me, and you were always on time. You were always, always, 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 always on time. There's never been a day, never been a minute, never been a moment that you weren't in. There's never been a time that you didn't see me through, God. So I worship you. There's never been a day, never been a minute, never been a moment that you weren't in. There's never been a time that you didn't see me through, God. So I worship you. Sing this out one more time, Jesus. Jesus, I was tossed in the water, but I never went under. You were always on time. And Jesus, when I went through the fire, you were right there beside me. You were always on time.
We're going to enter our time of communion. And I don't know, every time you hear one of these stories or messages, it's going to hit differently. And what jumped out to me and the reminder of communion is that we don't have to be strong. God loves us as we are. He calls us to lay our burdens at his feet, to surrender to him. So this time of communion, Johnny and Mike will be here. There's two crackers. The one on the white is the gluten-free. And then the white is the juice, the red is the wine. And I'm just going to go back and reread that passage again, because I think communion is such a great reminder that his grace is more than enough, that Jesus willingly gave himself up on our behalf, knowing that we're weak, not that we're perfect, just as we are. He gave himself up. And he reminds us, and Paul writes, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then," and this is the hard part, "I am content with the weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Communion is our opportunity to receive his grace, to be reminded that it's okay to be weak, because he has it. It's his power, it's not ours. So enter this time of communion with me.
working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, you're touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, you're turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yes, my God, that is who you, that is who you are, is who you are. Even when you never stop, you never stop, you never stop. I don't feel it, you're working. Even when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop working. You never stop, you never stop. Oh, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Oh, that is who you are. 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 Oh, that is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are. That is who you are.
Let's lift our voices together. We've seen him move. He can move mountains. He's gonna do it again. We've seen you move. Come move the mountains. And I believe I'll see you do it again. You made a way where there was no way, and I believe I'll see you do it again. I've seen you move, come move the mountains. again. I'll see you do it again. Do it again. Amen. Yes. As we go out this week, let's remember this. God is never late, never absent, never out of control. Even when we can't see it, even when we don't feel it, we can trust that he is working. Isaiah 41:10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." So let's go out today trusting his timing, his faithfulness, and trusting that he's going to do it again. Have a good week. Real quick, parents, go get your kids and then bring them back.